Good evening, and I love you. My eyes are just gonna get adjusted. We're gonna do our best. I have so many bright lights around me, but this is when I be here, so we're gonna roll with it. Good evening, and I love you, and welcome to. We're gonna call this some tough love with honey today, and what I mean by that is I have to remember. Anyway, I think the messages are better given and received with a little bit of honey. My mom used to say you can win more bees with honey. And I don't think it's that time on earth where everyone, everyone knows everything right now. They have the solutions to everything. But not a whole lot of people are ultra happy and harmonious in their biology, so I'm not sure how that translates. But let's get started. So as much for you as for me, we're gonna take a couple seconds and we're gonna use this heart chakra bowl and tone our energetic body. Kind of calm down and cue in. This is a beautiful Tibetan heart chakra bowl. Can you see? Oh wow, yeah, you can see so good. Look at that. And so we're gonna listen to this for a second, and you are invited to allow yourself to calm down and to clue in with me by simply closing your eyes and listening. Kombucha. All right, so if you are in a chair or on the ground, it's best to put both feet flat on the ground and bring your belly button forward, bring your shoulders back, bring your head in line, let your beautiful spine be in line, and then go ahead and open your hands with your palms up, and that is just saying, I allow, I receive all that is beautiful and freely flowing to me, right? And then we're gonna do we're gonna do a big inhale, and then we're gonna do what's called an audible exhale, which means when we exhale, we're gonna let the exhale make noise coming out of our mouth, like, and that way our body, we are not our body, we are our souls, hear that beautiful exhale, and it calms down. It's like, oh, that feels good. I hear that. There's an actual biological response, a chemical response to hearing that. So go ahead and close your eyes and open your hands and take a big breath in through your nose and let it go out through your mouth. And in through your nose, and out through your mouth, and in through your nose, and one more big breath out through your mouth. Wiggle your fingers and your toes with clean, beautiful new energy. Take your left hand and put it on your heart. Take your right hand and put it on your left. And say, I love you to your body. And say, I love you to this planet that hosts our biological well-being. And say, I love you to a power greater than we, that divinely keeps it in line all the time, no matter what we think. Thank goodness. Let's take one more beautiful big breath in through our nose and let it go out through our mouth. And open your eyes when you're ready. Yay! For many of us, that is the only time we take some big breaths and relax in a day. And it sure does feel good, and it changes the game for your biological body, which is what we're going to talk about. So there's some pretty crazy shifts going on Earth, right? There's a lot of stuff going on. I suppose if you follow, no matter what you follow, right? If you're paying attention to nature, if you are paying attention to, I don't know. I really don't know what's in popular culture, so I really don't know what everyone pays attention to. I pay attention to how I feel. I pay attention to how my family is doing. I pay attention to my health. I'm pretty selfish in that, because I've learned to be. So what we're going to talk about today, I have figured out a way to make a fun little picture, even for kids to understand, about how our Earth is changing, how energy is changing, especially for high energy kids. You know, that is the biggest reason right now. And I wanted to start with a couple of disclaimers. First of all, I am not like today how I used to be. I used to get in a lot of trouble, hurting myself and others, actively in the addiction of alcoholism and drug addiction. I mean, I was just like a walking wrecking ball. So when I talk about these things today, if I seem direct or harsh, or what some may perceive as judgmental, it is not that I am judgmental. I have probably been worse than than most of you in this form. So that's not really a deal for me. I speak harshly, I suppose, some think. I don't know. Because to me it's so important. And I'm just direct. What I'm trying to say is, this is so much harder than just being in like a little persona. It's so funny. It's so funny how spirit works, okay? Because the me you would have got yesterday when I was planning on doing this is a completely different me than you're getting today. Because a whole lot has occurred and processed and shifted in that 24 hours. And so it changes who I be today. And you know what? That's the name of the game. That's the process. We're supposed to actually be cluing into who we are and who we be each and every day and shifting accordingly. It's just that most of us have ourselves and the process pretty tight cast. And so when it doesn't go according to our expectations, or when it doesn't feel in a way that we desire, we decide it's bad, or it shouldn't be like that, or we personify the actual change, the actual process of evolution that is always for our highest good. There's some laws of nature on planet Earth, and they always apply, whether we like them or not. These are the laws that I default to when I'm trying to understand an energetic process and apply the energetic process to anything, especially the human or our biology. There are laws of nature that they just be. It's kind of like if you don't agree with gravity, you're still going to have a biological interaction and process and response to gravity. You don't need your conscious participation. It's the physics, the laws of nature on planet Earth. And so our biology interacts a certain way with this planet. She forces adaptation and evolution. And the only way that we are not always evolving and always adapting to the best and highest potential is because we get in the way and restrict the process. And we restrict the process through our thinking and through our believing and through our behaving. And then ultimately what we embody and make into our character, who we be, how we see the world, and then we model that behavior for everyone around us. So if anything is smaller than we or under our tutelage, then that's the programming that they'll receive. Whatever it is that we are thinking and believing and therefore behaving in. I believe that's the sins of the father. If you're a parent, you understand that if your kid really messed up, you're not really mad about what they did. You're more thinking like, what were you thinking when you did that? Because you understand that if you can get inside their head and clean up that thought, and they don't have that thought, then they won't get to that process again, right? You understand that, like, usually the act is like secondary, right? And so with us, if we can allow more of our well-being by updating and upgrading our thinking first, and then how we believe and how we behave, then we get more of it, right? And the thing is, this will be for, a small group of people, probably. I wish that everyone and their brother wanted to love this message that I'm giving today and share with me and talk with me and want to be about this stuff. But I am really starting to understand that we all get to live the way we want to live, right? And in turn, we all get to die the way we want to die too, in a way, And so what I mean by that is I don't expect everyone to desire the, you know what? I'm not going to say what I expect or don't expect. It doesn't really matter, does it? It doesn't matter. I'm just going to share my little story with you because, so yesterday I was just going to tell you this little story, and it makes it easy to understand the energy. And then it makes it easy to see if you can make some choices, to be more in your own corner, right? More of your own supporter. And then I had a whole lot of life happen in a short period of time. And then, well, it was kind of a fictitious story to explain an energetic principle became like a real life deal. And so, that's how it works for me, and that's how it works for all of us. Like, the learning within gets skin put on it because we're gifted. The people in our process, our family members, the people that we have issue with, the people that we interact with, those are the lesson lenders. And it's always for our highest good. So whatever's happening in our process, if we could forego the assessment and the judgment of it, we could probably take part in it in a more beneficial way. That's hard to say when you have a understanding of how it's supposed to turn out and you don't want it to feel bad. But what it does is lend for a lot of darkness within, disconnection within. And that was the name of the game on planet Earth. Like, so the Earth herself is a conscious entity, right? Like, she's a living planet, okay? And here's my little story for you. And that part's true anyway. But begin. Put your magic hat on. Oh my gosh, I have a magic hat. I wish I had my magic hat, but I'm not going to get up to get it. Put your little magic hat on and step into Imagination Station. Are you ready? Okay. So, planet Earth. But it's the truth. She decides, like, so the Earth is changing and evolving in consciousness. And her electromagnetic conductivity is also changing. And she has like a buzz. She has a vibration about her. It is sometimes referred to as the Human resonance, for those who are familiar. Excuse me. And it used to be at this one frequency. And that's actually where that deep frequency came from. I forget the number, so I'm not gonna conjecture and get it wrong. But it's this one specific frequency, and it's super healing and calming to the human. It's that of the root chakra, right? And a couple of times, but recently again in 2012, the Earth has had a shift in her electromagnetic grid, which causes a disrupt and then a change in her vibrational resonance. And so there are places and people that track that. You can tune into it, you can Google it and find out. But it's been like all over the map for a while and spiking, and it's just different. And there's nothing really that's consistently the same about it anymore. And so we could say that she is actually, and this is what's happening, she is shifting in vibration. She's shifting in consciousness. And so as she's doing that, she gets tired of the low vibrating, dysfunctional behavior, diseased behavior on her surface between her babies, all the humans, right? All the humans acting like fools to each other. And so she sends out a beacon to the souls in the universe and says, send in more light. I'm going to raise my vibration. I'm going to host more consciousness. Why don't y'all come here and play? And so she decides, it's like if the Earth had all these 40-watt light bulbs, right? And that was the light, that was the frequency. It was a 40-watt light bulb Earth, and that's not a very bright, not a very high vibrating Earth. You can't really see a lot, right? And so she says, you know what, let's crank it up to 100 watts. Let's just turn that wattage up. Let's have 100-watt light bulbs. And so all the little creatures on there have to increase their vibrational capacity. So the humans, they have to go from 40-watt consciousness to 100-watt consciousness. Whoa, exponential growth, right? That's a whole lot more energy. That's a whole lot more conductivity, okay? Well, how do we get there? Well, you can't, if in the darker earth, the lower consciousness earth, the lower vibrating earth, the 40-watt earth, right? It's easy for things to go unnoticed there. It's easy for things to stay cloaked in darkness, in the individual and in the collective, right? Well, as there becomes more light and more consciousness on the earth herself, as individual vessels choose to embody more light, choose to pay attention to what's going on inside of them, they are able to recalibrate their biology, right? They're able to increase their conductivity. They're able to go from a 40-watt light bulb to a 100-watt light bulb. Okay? And so when they do this, they have to allow more energy to come into their vessel. It just so happens, by the way, that during this process, humans are coming to the earth with what? Too much energy. They've got too much energy, which really just means we don't have an environment to host your conductivity right now. Really. Otherwise, that is saying that the human is devolving or God is screwing up. And neither thing is possible because, like I said, there are laws of nature on this planet that always apply. So we can understand that the human is has the potential to be evolving at all given times. Should be able to host its evolution and understand better. So in this case, if we can allow more energy to come into the human, we can increase conductivity. When I keep saying that, if you guys are like, what's she talking about? What I mean by that is, we're an electromagnetic vessel and we run on conductivity. Okay, like we have cells that require a certain amount of voltage in order to function well. It requires a certain amount of voltage to create a cell. It requires even more voltage to repair a cell. So if our conductivity starts to fall, if our energy starts to decline, if our allowance of receiving divine energy starts to disconnect, then our biology starts to suffer. And it ends up shutting our systems down. And so, to stay with the story I was telling before, in order to go the opposite way, we have to do everything other than what I just said. We have to fall in love with our own bodies. We have to fall in love with our own beings. We have to fall in love with all that is before we are capable of hosting such a vibration. You know, that same deal, I can't give what I don't have. Or we could say, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Can you imagine this seasoned beholder of beauty who could possibly find beauty everywhere in everything? Wow, right? Doesn't that sound pretty amazing? Sounds like a pretty evolved beauty beholder, right? That's awesome. I love that. I want that to be my professional title, evolved beauty beholder. Oh, you see, to me that means that I have calibrated my insides in order to find God's grace and beauty in everything that I encounter, which is the idea, right? How beautiful is that? But I have to be able to host that capacity. So going from 40 watts to 100, it requires the process of falling in love with yourself. I used to hate when I would be getting in trouble and people would say things like, well, you just need to fall in love with yourself. Thanks, dumbass. I got that much. Could you give me a step A, step B, step C? Like, I don't understand that terminology. And so I have developed a process that I have been engaging in consciously for quite a few years that allow me to allow myself to change, allow myself to grow, allow myself to redefine, to update and upgrade who I want to be, how I see myself, how I interact with everything around me, right? And so I'm afforded a state of harmony and happy, sexy living today that I was not like before. I think that's really important to say. I was not like this. My adult children knew a different younger mother. So, with all that little science and cute little story stuff for you, it is my understanding that there are a whole lot of boys feeling really disconnected, really not sure of themselves, and there are equally, and I should throw this out there too, especially for those who are just joining. If you're just joining this broadcast, if I say something that pushes your buttons and pisses you off, I invite you to take a look at why it pisses you off. That's how I was taught to operate. If someone says something or does something and I find myself thinking about it later, why am I thinking about it? How does it apply to me? Chances are there's an opportunity for some growth there, if I'm willing to look at why it's pissing me off, because the stuff that pisses you off is the stuff that applies. So, with that, I had a conversation. I'm going to tie all these things together. I had a conversation, let me go back to where I was. So, boys feeling uncertain, unsure of themselves, pretty shook in the root chakra is the way I would put it, okay? Especially high energy kids. I happen to have a beautiful community and a whole lot of friends who are also older men, my age or older, okay? And so lately I've been polling them, because y'all that know me know I just throw out whatever I think. People, I'm pretty much one of those people you either like or you don't like, and it really comes down to how much you like or don't like yourself, because if you feel like I'm against I'm one of those people, like, if you are for you, you'll probably like me. If you're not for you, you probably won't like me. So, with that, I lost my space in my head. Oh, I have a beautiful community of friends who are older men, my age or older. And so lately I've been throwing out the question, hey, can I ask you about basically the joy, the pleasure, and the fun in your life? Like, if you had a dial inside you and you could turn it from like 0 to 10, and it was your fun meter, about how much fun you're currently having in your life, where's your fun meter at? And all of them have a less than desirable fun meter reading. And I talk to a lot of people. I've been talking to a lot of people for a lot of years. Okay? And so we got some trends going on with our current operating systems, and we can see where they are beneficial, I think, now, and where they're not. And we can see, or I should say, no, that's not what I meant to say. Not the operating systems. We can see the result of our current operating systems. We can see if the way we are operating as a society is beneficial for these populations or not. I offer it's not. And so I was having a conversation with a gentleman the other day who was saying, he was talking about a family he works with, and he said, the kid is autistic, they just don't know that yet. And he said, and they don't want to hear it, they just want to medicate him so he'll calm down. And I said, I hear that, I hear that. And I said to him, I understand, again, I'm going to speak frankly because I cannot be politically correct and try to do that at the same time and express myself authentically. I feel more important, or I feel that it is more important to express myself authentically. I said, I understand that you are like me, and that's not the way we would choose to go. I said, but you can't be mad at her. She's just scared. I said, she's just scared and she doesn't have the energy. And I was like, especially if she's a single mom. She's spread in a lot of ways. And then I thought I learned something as I was having this conversation with him. And you'd have to understand, like, the man's educational background and stuff, and why it was such a huge learning for me. It was the first time that I realized that it's the first time I understood it in that way, by it's an energetic exchange. That because the grown-up doesn't feel they have enough energy to provide an energetic response viable on the same level to that energetic human, they can't do it. So they choose a response to adjust the human. I'm stopping for a second because I have agreed, like, I want to make sure I don't share people's confidence, but I share what I said I would. So yesterday, after I was planning on coming on here, my son and I ended up having this conversation, and long story short, I was getting in his face. I was getting in his face about his behavior and his process, and we were kind of like peeling the onion as I was in his face, and I was saying, you know, I thought his behavior was wrong in this way, and goodness, more challenging than I thought. Bear with me. After speaking with him, I said, and these are my words, I said, is it fair to say that you feel disappointed in adults? And he said, in many cases, yes. And he said, I feel like they should know some things and have, you know, some things figured out. And I was like, I can understand that. I can understand that part. I remember being there when I was a kid. I remember feeling like all the adults around me should have it figured out, and that if my energy was too much, that was their problem, not mine, right? And, you know, that's not really a healthy response. It's just a childish response. But the flip side of that is, and this is the part that I don't think the grown-up understands, I also hear the kid that's like, yo, I came like this, and if you're saying that something's wrong with me, like, because you don't have a way to help me figure out how to work this process, okay? And also the reason I understand this is because I am this kid. And for those that know me, like, I can have like 35, 40 high energy, half autistic kids on a field with me and have them in line and in sync in 8 minutes. I'm phenomenal with them because I am them. And I have that much energy. And I haven't put it away. I did for a long time, drugs and alcohol. You know what I mean? Like, I was way too energetic and I didn't know how to calm down. And I didn't know how to think, and I didn't know how to feel, right? And I didn't know how to deal with my process at all. And, you know, every doctor said there was everything under the sun wrong with me. And I guess just on some level, I just reject all those things. I reject all that mess because I think I'm a beautiful baby of God. And, you know, people would say, Heather, when you get sober, when you get older, you'll calm down. Well, that was quite some time ago, and I'm still sober. And I have just as much energy as I ever did. I have just learned some really useful tools, some necessary nutrition and behavior modifications that are conducive and essential for my well-being. You know, there's just things I don't do, and there's things I do have to do. And so with this, when my son came, he was super high energy. I mean, just like, he was just wound for sound, you know? And I chose to have him. I chose to have him later. And I decided that's what I was gonna do. So I decided that when he came, and the analogy I give people, it was like, you know, maybe our grandparents came with a plug, right? And then our parents came with a plug and a USB port, and then like we came with plug USB port Wi-Fi, and then some of these kids came with all that and like 4 HDMI ports, right? And I felt like that kid. I felt like I was like 4 HDMI ports before that was even a deal. And so I felt like when my son came, like I got that. But I also remember, and this was where, through having the conversation with the man the other day, I said, don't be upset with her because she doesn't have the energy because she's put it away. Like, I said, I remember when my son was really little, like 2.5, and we had taken the girls, and they were like 16 at that point, to go have their haircut. And so while one was having her haircut, the other one was sitting there. Well, so he wasn't climbing all over the seats. I took him outside so that we could run around on the median, like right by this very busy street. We were right there, like, just running in circles, literally running in circles so he could calm down. And it works for me because that's literally why I stay in this kind of shape. But I also remember I was telling my friend, I don't know too many that are willing to do that. I don't know too many that are willing to host that energy. And because people put it away, right? They put away their energy. And so with my son, I was realizing that's what's up. Like, I feel like I'm all over the map with this. Rein it back in. I made him a deal today that I would show up in all my energy if he chose to stay in all his. I was like, I'll be that one human. Because I know I can. I've done it for a long time now. And I remember being the kid that wished that the adults around me would stay in all their energy. Because what it feels like is bits of them leave when they disallow all their energy, or they duck out of their true belief systems and their best living. I remember how that felt as a kid with just the collective adults, you know what I mean? Like, the way people operate, the way they don't really want to feel their feelings, the way they just want to keep it easy. It makes us ill. And so if you come as like a kid like me, or my kid who absolutely feels these things, you can choose to put them away, or be angry that others around you are not responding in a suitable manner, or you can choose to feel the feelings and decide how you're going to grow from them. So I kind of got my own, after sitting in meditation, I kind of got my own inventory handed to me, I will say. I got to see where, I think with my own kid, I was in that capacity with him when things were more in crisis in our life. And I felt like I was crisis response, you know what I mean? And I was really good at creating a very disciplined path and disciplined responses to keep him tethered to a certain amount of discipline and a certain amount of processes to remain calm and balanced. But then I guess I kind of slacked off on some of those when things weren't in crisis anymore, and sort of kind of felt like, in a way, like, well, I guess I made him a toolbox and he's got this toolbox, and then, I guess I assume he's just using his toolbox and is all as well. And then I am met with the learning that no, he doesn't know how to update his toolbox all by himself. I have to be hands on that process more every day. And, for each kid that's different. And for this kid, he needs to remember how to play. He needs to remember how to play, how to be a kid, not to be so serious about everything he does, not to He's very disciplined. He's a very Saturnian person. So he is very like restrictive and cognizant of his own behavior. And like that's all well and fine, and that's beautiful if you're still living in balance. But if you're so restrictive that you don't have joy, then it's not beneficial, you know? And so to bring this full circle, through talking with my son, I realized that if I allow my son to continue on the current operating system with the current disconnects in some way, then I would imagine he will learn to practice this restriction and disconnection as his pattern behavior. I showed him like this. Hopefully you guys will be able to see this. Remember, we're on planet Earth, and one is not better than the other. Because we're on planet Earth, we are afforded polarities. The problem is that humans become all funky with duality. And this is where my son's being. He's like, these are black and white. No, they're not. No, they're not always, you know. And so let's see if you can see this. This is the polarity of restriction, and this is the polarity of allowance. Well, ideally, we want to teeter somewhere in the middle, right? We want to learn how, when to restrict ourselves. We don't want to be like totally Jupiterian, like, yeah, I'll eat it, I'll do it, I'll buy it, I'll this. So you're going to end up not so great. And you don't want to be totally Saturnian where you're like, no, I don't need it, I'll go without, I'm going to be fine. You know what I mean? That's not beneficial. So we want to be somewhere in the middle. So if you have someone disposition like my son, who's already over here, he's very Saturnian. My son has Saturn in the 12th house. That means he's got the teacher, the father, discipline in his subconscious psyche. So you got someone who's already like teetering right here with monitoring themselves, right? And if you get too far over here, that ends up where you're judging yourself so harshly that you're not allowing your own joy, right? And here's the deal, like I told him, okay? We all oscillate at some point. Sometimes we're over here, sometimes we're over here. Rarely does anyone like chill all the time right here. But if you're like chilling here, and then you're gathering momentum with your the way you think about yourself and the way you think about the world around you, and you're headed even further that way, as this train carries momentum, any polarity is going to wreck you, okay? You can touch. My mentor used to say, Heather, you see the middle ground when you're swinging from one side to the other. It gives me this picture of Tarzan, right? Like, oh. And it's like, I'm like, whoop, there's the middle ground, right? I used to be like that, right? Well, I'm pretty like this right now. I don't think I hit polarities too much anymore. Anyway, if you're on a train and it is directed one way or the other, and it's going to get to one polarity or the other, it's going to wreck itself. So wouldn't it be cool if we could arrest the train before it wrecks by changing some of our beliefs and changing some of our behaving, right, in more beneficial ways? He says, yes. Okay. So I remember, and then I have another conversation with the beautiful girl that I went to high school with. And she says, basically, the quintessential come out of the conversation, and she says to me, I love how humans respond when we're in crisis. This is my paraphrase, excuse me. She says, I love how humans respond when we're in crisis, but I wish we could stay there. Like, I wish we could stay there more often. And I said, I hear you, but I think that's the nature of evolution. I think that's the nature of our evolution, that we don't just chill here in the balance. You know, we go from one side to the other, and this could be the compassion meter instead of the restriction meter. You could put anything here for human nature, right? And so only when we are pushed do we go into what I said, oh, I love those words. I call divine defining times. Like, only when there's crisis, only when these terrible, crazy things happen, do you watch human nature kind of come together and become generally compassionate and connective, right? And much more conductive. And then, you know, things return to normal and people teeter off. Well, that doesn't keep us tuned in our evolution. It doesn't keep us tuned in our highest living. If we just touch those spaces when things are in crisis. This is what I'm learning with my son. I have to find that balance with him where I show up to maintenance, our well-being, our believing and behaving, to teach him every day. Not just when things are in crisis, but just because I gave him a toolbox once doesn't mean we don't continue to sit and play with the tools. And as I say that, it's a trip because that's how he used to. So I spent, like I said, I spent some time in meditation on this, and I went back to when these times were in our life. Well, how did he balance himself? What were the first things he did when he came home? And he would always be doing something with his hands. He would, he had like these little, army guys and action figure guys. And he would set up those and play with those. He would also play with cars, build Legos, build Lincoln Logs, build stuff, right? And so it was always, the commonality was something with his hands. What I understand now is you work out that process. You work out energy pent up in you through talking, through what you do with your hands, through building something. We used to do it through singing and dance when we were in a tribe, when we used to get in a circle. We used to clean the energy and clean the body through the natural process of living in a community. Well, a lot of people don't even eat together anymore. So a lot of these natural processes are not happening. How do I restore them for him? How do I go back to what was working so well at a time and bring it forth into today? So we are deciding, I made the decision that I'm taking him out the video game world for a little while. And we're going to go back to doing some more things with his hands. And it's not like this kid does not play video games, but like an hour a day. But the deal is, what I'm seeing is, when he plays video games, when he has a device, when he doesn't play with his hands, when he's not around as many humans in real life as online, because like he has great things online, like D&D campaign and other cool stuff, and he does stuff with friends, y'all, don't get me wrong, but I'm just explaining what's going on. His human processes are different. It's not like he's doing something out of line or abusing it. Not at all. He's not that human. His cognitive functions are different. His want to and ability to connect to his internal process doesn't seem to be as easy. And so I am aware and learned and studied in the fact that I can give him lessons with my mouth and with books and such, and then I can allow him to stay in different behavior, model different behavior, and see which he picks up on, right? And so if he, meaning that like I'm the one that has to make the change. I'm the one that has to make the change in my actual being, and so that became effective today. That's why I'm just now getting on here tonight. I spent the day grounding my kid by doing an outdoor workout, and talking about some of these things and how we're going to do them some different. And when I make change with my kids, this is one thing that I don't understand why, anyway, I'll say it this way. When I make change with my children, I decide which change we're making and then I execute it, whether they like it or not. I don't care if they like what I decide they need. I have friends and people that say, well, like they got a kid in crisis. They got kids that got stuff going on. And then you say, hey, why don't we try this? Do you want to do this? And they're like, well, I'll ask my kid. Okay. I mean, you'll ask the one that's not leading the show and isn't doing it and requires leadership. I'll tell you something. This is going to piss you off if you're this mom. Ask your high energy kid if he wishes you would step up the discipline in his life from you. If you're having a hard time with your kid, if you're having a tough relationship, ask him if he wishes you would create more discipline in his life. I bet the answer is yes. That does not come from you being a slack-ass human, and that doesn't come from the child being disrespectful or insubordinate. It comes from my friend. I heard this girl, she's so beautiful. She said, she calls it main character energy. She's like, you got that main character energy. And she talked about her little girl who I think she was like 5 years old. And she's like total main character energy. And what I see and I hear and I feel when I experience kids like that is when these children come, these high energy kids come, sovereign in their energy, connected to all that is, and knowing that on some fundamental level, they understand their own sovereign authority in a way that until you do, you will not understand. They know who they are and that they are connected to all that is. And all of these kids are like, at first, until it's some other way, kind. They are, I'm talking about super high energy kids. They're kind, they're good with animals. They have these, I lost my train of thought. They understand they are beautiful until they learn something different. And so, when you know that you are loved and you love everything, you, I think as a kid, have a hard time understanding if the adults in front of you don't act in that way. If they act in a way that they don't love themselves, don't honor themselves, don't honor all that's around them, the child may seem insubordinate and disrespectful. It's not because they're trying to hurt your feelings or they don't love you, or it's not a judgment thing. It's that they don't understand, because they don't need to be reprimanded. They need to be guided and led. They already have this beautiful ability to discipline themselves and connect compassionately. It's not that they're trying to usurp your authority. They're wondering when we could do it in a way that's more beneficial. So for me, I will be taking it back to square zero. I have to remember how to play with my kid. I used to teach him things in a playful way, before I became more serious. And I'm sharing this because there's a lot of moms like me. There's a lot of moms that especially nowadays are, everybody's busy, everybody has a lot of things going on, and so we get so serious we forget how to play. And it is a different vibration to wake up in the day and say, all right, I want to wake up and solve these problems. I'm going to wake up and figure it out. I'm going to wake up and get it done. This is all very cerebral energy response thinking processes, all very masculine energy, as opposed to waking up with a more feminine approach. And I'm not talking about a man-woman thing. I'm talking about allowance and reception and saying, I'm a beautiful child of God. I can't wait to see what's in store for me today. I'm so excited to play. As I heard the other day, this is easy. This is fun. Ooh, how delicious is that? Can you imagine the ride of life? Can you imagine getting on the flight of life and the flight attendant from the first time you wake up is like, hey, all right, well, you better wear your seatbelt because we're doomed. Things are screwed. Everything's screwed. It's like that flight, I would get off. I would be afraid to continue that flight. But if you got on with the flight attendant that was like, hi, take a seat. We got a little bit of chaos going on the right where you're growing, but just stay tuned, sit still. It's going to feel all right. We'll bring you snacks. And on the left is more evolution, but you're on the flight of life. Welcome. Like, can you imagine how much more fun? Then we know we're growing. We know we're going. But I think I can have fun. Yes. You know, what is it? JC said something about entering the kingdom of heaven in a childlike manner. Discipline, allowance, somewhere in the middle. This connection is the opposite of allowance. So if we are feeling super disconnected, how much joy are we allowing in our lives? Right? Are we even allowing ourselves to receive in ways that make us feel good, that allow us to balance our fundamental biology? The current operating system for a lot of families apparently is not, or at least that's my personal experience, that a lot of the boys are feeling pretty disconnected, and so are a lot of the men. And the women are feeling tired. For me, it's about a redefinition and reassignment and allowance of my energy. How can I allow more? How can I balance my doing with my being? And how can I allow myself to receive? I have said a lot recently that everybody's like, what are you doing about it? Well, what did you do about it? Nobody says, did you sit still and allow the solution to flow to you? Again, there's a healthy balance. You don't just sit while your ship is sinking and be like, I'm allowing a solution. You got to swim, mofo. But this healthy balance is what we're looking for, you know? And so for me, I find the solutions when I remain in a playful state. I heard that Einstein would grab his violin and play when he felt stuck on something. What it does is change the energetic flow. What it does is make you a better focal point for attraction for what you desire. So like, as I told my son, we say in my program of recovery, you gotta fake it till you make it. You have to decide you are beautiful and amazing, and that all things good are flowing to you and through you and from you in the right time. And that it's just your job to get ready for them and to find the beauty in a day. This does so much. If you can start deciding everything's for you, what it does is shift you into vibrational gratitude. Vibrational gratitude will most likely increase your vibrational resonance, increase your vibe, increase your vibration, which allows you to be a focal point of attraction for more goodness. When you get really grateful for like every little thing around you, more really amazing stuff starts to come to you. And then you're like, wow, look at all this amazing stuff that flows to me, right? So if you want things to be more joyous, you have to allow yourself to be beautiful, worthy of joyous things. as I say that, that would have been such a wordy sentence to me, some time ago. Today it doesn't sound so tough, but I've practiced this process a lot of times now, so that it's like clockwork. I understand that if I do this and do this and do this, I will get this type of an outcome, which we would call faith. With experience, I am afforded faith and understanding because the process becomes repetitious. So, if you're in my local area, you'll be able to take part in some of the things that we're doing for kids now. Like I said, I don't play. I'm really grateful for the things that manifest in my life and my family, and sometimes in my body, so that I get the beautiful ability to pay attention to what I'm hosting. Because it's never like I got it, it's I'm hosting. I invited. So this is a good deal for me to kind of like come back to ground zero. Like when my kids are little, I'm a beast at remembering that you're supposed to play with. I mean, no one's like, hey, Heather, you gotta play with your kids when they're little. I'm like, little kids, like, that's what we do, we play, right? And I'm magic with little kids. Well, I'm not sure at what age or what size I decide others are not little kids anymore, or I decide I'm not a little kid, or those around me. But when we lose our playful like connection, when we start hardening our hearts and not allowing ourselves to feel, a day turns into a month, months turns into years, becomes a way of being that becomes harder to unwire. So I want to practice this goodness in all of my affairs every day. I want to do the good stuff every day. I want to show up and commit to playing in my toolbox every day. And if I do that, if I get in a more playful way, not just handle my business, but play in front of those around me, I will model the behavior. And then they might learn that it's beneficial to play their way into some more beneficial behavior, some more allowance of well-being. It's a trip, I've been at one end of the spectrum with how I see myself and how I understand life. And now I'm at a bipolar opposite end of the spectrum. All shades of the spectrum that I've been afforded are valuable in my experience. They temper my understanding. It's good to be able to choose what I want more of. I'm really grateful for that today. I'm grateful to have some processes, like I said, that are successful each time I apply them, because I have found things that work. I'm repetitious, I apply them consistently, I have a consistent outcome. I'm grateful to be able to model that behavior for my son in this case, because it's my job, I believe, to be the best human I can in front of him. Like I said today, I said, I'll make you a deal. I will stay in all my energy if you do. I'll be that one human. He was like, he's like, all right. And so, with that, I'm being me. And it'll be for some and not for others. And it is what it is. I am enjoying allowing myself to feel as naturally energetic and not put my oddities and weirdities away. I have worked very hard to be able to speak like this, slowly to articulate my words, to stay centered and focused upon speaking. If I get really, really, really excited, I still snap and clap. And then, you know what, when I get like that, I know I'm doing it right. Because if I get like that and I forget you're watching me, then I'm in the right spot. That means I'm literally in that delicious fun for the audience of one. Ooh, that's the beauty. I am going to get off of here. I think it's probably pretty late. And I prefer to do these in the day because the lights just absolutely toss my eyes and make my eyes burn. And then I have like, my eyes are tired after I get off of here for a while. So I will be doing these during the day. Just had a lot of life stuff going on. But I'm grateful to be here with you all. If anybody has a quick question who's on here right now wants to toss that out, I would love to answer. Oh, and I said, I want to show you something though. I do have a card for us. So I do readings, right? And I'll give you guys a reading sale. Someone remind me in the comments. And what is this month? We're in the middle of February. Yeah, let's do a 1-question reading sale. I'll remind myself. Okay, anywho. I have all these decks that I read from. And you get like grown-up concepts, and usually people are asking things like excuse me, life path, lovers, karma, past life, stuff like that, right? Soul mission, things like this, like big stuff, right? And so I've been pulling out these cards lately when I work with clients, and I love this because these cards, whoa, are you ready for this? All right, a card for us, those of us who are here right now and those who will watch. What do we get? Oh, are you ready? Hummingbird. Cheer up. These are kids' cards, but I've been using them for the grown-ups. Oh my God, it's so yummy. It is so beautiful to help people play. So this card says, Hummingbird says, there are days when you'll find yourself in a bad mood or just feeling kind of cranky and nothing seems to make you feel better. First thing you should always do is check to see if you're wearing your HAT. In other words, whether you're hungry, angry, or tired. If any of these are true, do what you can to take care of these first. Doing so will help you get out of a bad mood. Oh my goodness, your hat. Get some good nutritious food if you're hungry. Talk to someone about your anger. This is divine. Oh, I'm so excited to say something. Talk to someone about your anger, if that's the case. Or get some rest if you're tired. This is what we're talking about. Take care of what you need first, and try smiling a little bit, and then focusing on all the good things that are in your life. It's amazing how when you smile at others, they will usually smile back. You will feel both a little bit better, and that might make you feel happy and cheerful. Oh my God. That's the little kid version of what we just spoke about. Okay, I'm so glad this came up. So if you have a high energy kid, if you are a high energy human, I would suggest you increase your healthy fat content right now. Give your kid a good healthy fat serving before they go to sleep. Really good options are a natural peanut butter or almond butter. A big handful of nuts, some Greek yogurt to go with is a really good choice. And then, excuse me, the brain will be more cushioned, and you, your child, whoever, will sleep better. You might want to increase a couple little healthy fat servings throughout the day. A nice big, healthy heaping spoonful of natural peanut butter or almond butter at times when someone's energy seems to dip. Those help the brain feel more cushioned. Your high energy human will function much better. So happy that came up. And yeah, encouraging us to talk. If you fellas that are watching this don't want to talk to somebody, get yourself a journal. Get yourself a journal and start talking about how you feel with you first. Just write it down for only you to read, and then just don't tell anyone about it. And it'll get it out of you. There's actually an energetic process happening when it comes from your consciousness to your hand, to your pen, to the paper. You are saying to all that is, I release this to you. I thank you for the love and lessons, and I trust you may do with it as you please. Look at that. Beautiful, right? You can also dance and sing in a tribe, but I don't know if that's an option for most of us. That's awesome. I witness the darkness and call on the light with my prayer. Thank you, universe, for guiding me to perceive this fear through the eyes of the teacher of love. It's backwards for y'all, but there you go. All right, babies, I gotta go. Thank you for being here. If you guys are interested in a reading, I will offer a sale. Remind me, and I'll put a little flyer out here for you. But you can send me a message about that. I will be asking for help soon for my village. It's doing what I wanted to do past my wildest expectations and imagination. Again, consistently. And so I need help because it's magic, and it increases connection and conductivity within the individual human and all they connect with, and it's pretty damn beautiful. So I want to allow the assistance and the connections and resources to flow to me past my wildest imagination, because I understand I have limitations. I am human, so I'm gonna trust that those who want to be part of this project are out there. They're gonna watch this, they're gonna learn about it, and they're going to help me. Other than that, I don't know. I just love you. I love you, and I'm grateful to share with you today. I'm grateful to not mind sharing my personal business. And I'm grateful to get off of here in front of this beautiful bright light, because it's a lot on my eyes next time I'm doing this again in the daytime. But subscribe to my YouTube channel. The link is in my post. And y'all find a way to play. Find a way to take some time each day and spend a few minutes connecting to your innards and seeing what makes you giggle. Seeing what makes you smile, and then bringing more of that into your life. If you want some help figuring it out, you can send me a message. You can have a private session with me. Okay, I love you. I'm leaving now. Thank you so much for being here. Mwah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you, I love you, I love you.